Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, smash that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us, Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Discord and Reddit, and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
We got Bomber talk, a little bit of CFL talk, a little bit of Winnipeg Jets talk, and of course, we got quick shots. But let's start off with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Bomber talk brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, or the field, or in the stands with a custom airbrush helmet, goalie mask, or project. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions for any project. Check them out. Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook, or call them at 204-891-7431.
And tell them Ray and Benny sent you.
Sergio Castillo has been put on suspended list, and as per Darren Cameron, Sergio has temporarily returned home for a personal matter. So good thoughts and good vibes go out to Sergio Castillo while he's on this list.
But let's totally missed that.
Yeah,
that just crazy. Happened tonight.
Yeah, it was about an hour and a half ago that I think that was posted, maybe within the last 2 hours.
Let's hope everything's okay.
Yeah. Preseason game against Saskatchewan, a loss, but preseason. So it's really hard to get a real feel for player performances in the preseason. But what's one thing that you found encouraging from this game?
Yeah, like you say, it's preseason. Bombers rested a lot of guys. Not very many starters. Zach Laros didn't play. So speaking of quarterback, I like the look of Terry Wilson. He stepped up as QB, made a claim for that third string spot with the Bombers. 11-16 and a touchdown, late touchdown, of course, in that game. Slower start, but hey, he had a very good drive, 81-yard drive, and it ended with a touchdown to Clevens Clericus, first rounder wide receiver that the Bombers took this year. So that was encouraging, and we'll see if he can build off in the next game. But nice to see they may have found that third stringer.
Yeah, he played really well. Dang, and I'll get to him in a second as well, but I was really impressed. And of course, it's preseason, and I'm only going off one play here, but it was really eerie watching Chauncey Rivers in the third quarter pull this crazy hands move, swatting the tackle's hands away, beating him around the corner, and then demolishing Shea Patterson. All the while, he was wearing number 56. Looking like Alfred Payton with a little bit of attitude after the sack. Like I said, yes, I know it's preseason and I can't get all excited over one play like I did with Tyler Pigroom last year. But, you know, the guy went nuts against the Elks. Shoot, I saw the second coming of Tracy Ham. Yeah. But any which way, Chauncey Rivers looked really good. He reminded me of Swack on that one. So, you know, there's a concern about defensive end. And of course, this is not the be all end all with that one play, but it was really cool seeing him play that way and wear number 56.
Yeah, there was the defensive end spot had a pretty good day, you know, for the Bombers. Even Taiwan Garbett ended up with a sack as well. A few other guys made their presence felt with some good rushes and stuff like that as well. So yeah, it looked good so far. So far that DE spot to find a replacement for Jackson Jeffcoat. Jeez.
Yeah, the line looked pretty steady as well. Yeah, the starting unit, at least, they were able to keep Strevy up for the most part, other than on a couple blitzes. One was a missed pickup blitz, I believe, and the second one was caused by a blitz, and Strevler left the pocket, and then he got tracked down by Williams on Saskatchewan. So Wallace held his own. Lofton looked didn't really get much of a running game going, but again, it's preseason. It's hard to get that continuation and flow to get a running game going, but the line played pretty steady too.
Yeah, Wallace looked a lot better than I think anyone really expected coming in there, right? Playing a Neufeld spot. Like, I think they were he was kind of raw, expecting him to take a little bit more time, whereas what was the biggest thing about his speed or his weight or something like that? Like, it might take some time to get down and get into game shape kind of thing, or CFL shape, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, apparently he looked, and from my eyes too, he looked pretty good.
One thing that I found concerning, and I get it, yes, it's a limited playbook. The O-line, like we said, is still gelling. The majority of their starting receivers weren't there. Chris Strevler played a solid game, I think going 7 out of 8 in regards to completion percentage. Was able to obviously move on the run or be a part of the running game. There's no surprise there. But I think one concern, and it was a concern when Strevler took over the starting reins in 2018 or 2018, is that his ability to stay in the pocket and go through the progressions There was one play, again, one play, just like I went with Chauncey Rivers, one play in the first where he had, I think it was Jeremy Murphy down the right side of the field, probably wide open with all the other players coming in on the receiver who got a short pass, and he didn't quite stay in his progressions to get that. Yes, there was pressure. Yes, the pass coverage was not perfect, but that question is still there. Can he stay in the pocket? Can he find that play before taking off and using his legs? So that was just a little red flag for me there.
Yeah, you want to see him take that next step and hope that he came back as a better QB and not just a gimmicky come in and throw a couple passes here. But we need him if something happens to Zach Laros and be able to read plays, right? How many times have you seen Zach Laros hang in there and take a hellacious hit just to be able to get the pass downfield or find that right guy, right? Instead of taking a check down. So
Yeah.
Chevy's, yeah, he's definitely got to find that.
What's concerning for you?
For me, and again, preface it by preseason, the Bombers looked kind of out of sorts in this game. And again, not a lot of starters, a lot of new guys playing in the CFL for the first time, but 9 penalties, 117 yards. They allowed 5 sacks. They committed 3 turnovers, and their time of possession was under 23 minutes. So yeah, I mean, you didn't have your starting quarterback, you had your second string quarterback, and then the third and fourth guys who have no CFL experience took over. And for Barry, I believe at quarterback, it wasn't very good. He threw 2 interceptions. So bit concerning how disjointed they kind of looked, but I'll give them the break because, a lot of new guys, but I know O'Shea won't be happy with that many penalties.
Yeah, at the beginning, especially when they're playing, I think Saskatchewan played 22 starters.
Yeah. 22 to 10 really in the starters department, I think.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You're gonna get penalties like that too.
Yeah. And I mean, Saskatchewan ended up getting a lot of penalties as well in these games.
I was a little concerned also about the DBs leading the team in tackles. They took like the top 4 spots, 2 of them being the safeties. That might be a bit of concern scheme wise because I did see some good blitzing, but they weren't getting home, and that left the middle of the field open. So they're getting some pretty decent gains on the secondary, especially to that Aju. That's a cool name, Aju on Saskatchewan. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully the secondary will kind of clean it up, lock things down. And again, preseason, yes, we realize that being kind of picky, ticky tacky right now at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're still trying to find the who's going to be the DBs back there, right? And now Jamal Parker is hurt too, so that doesn't help.
Yeah.
Terrell Ford didn't have a lot of passes his way, but the other guy, Tyreek McGee, did, and he got burnt by Kean Schaefer Baker on a big pass early, or not a big pass, but basically a jump ball early in that game too, right? So. Yeah, one of these guys are gonna have to step up because a few injuries crept up here to Neufeld, Bighill in the 6th game, and same with Jamal Parker. So you got to replace Demario Houston. Big play, big interceptions. Someone's got to step up and find those turnovers that Houston had last year.
Yeah, and some people pointed out he also let a lot of big plays go.
He did. He definitely did. He was definitely beatable, Houston, but he made some big plays with the interceptions as well.
What's one thing that surprised you from that at the preseason game?
I guess this could have been a concerning thing as well, but just how bad special teams it still was. I mean, they struggled in this game. What was it? A kickoff for 60 yards got returned by Saskatchewan, and another one for 60, a punt return. It ended up getting called back by a penalty. But yeah, I expect this unit to be a lot better this year. And return wise, it wasn't very good. I know Castillo hit his 2, so I can't say all special teams, but the return game was not good.
Yeah, I don't know if I was surprised by that. They were bad last year, and they're still in preseason. I don't know what's going on with that. Hopefully, they'll get better soon with Mike Millard as the special teams coordinator. They'll figure it out, and they'll figure out who the returner will be. But yeah, they look like they're kind of working on things. One thing that surprised me was I'll go back to Terry Wilson. You can tell he's a great athlete. He's mobile in the pocket, stands with size in the pocket, being 6'3". He's played on a big stage before with Kentucky, and you can still see there's still some adjustment to the speed of the game that needs to happen. If both of our quarterbacks with Caleros and Strevler went out, I'd be extremely nervous if this guy had to start. Definitely needs some time to get acclimated to that speed, but threw some nice nice passes under pressure, and threw some great balls on the move, including that TD ball that you're talking about to Clarcia. So he keeps plays alive with his legs. And he has a good arm.
Yeah, Like you said, though, Pigrom had a very good debut last year too, right?
That was different though. He used his
I
legs
know,
like crazy.
I know. Yeah.
Like at least this guy was using his arms. He was making those short throws, hitting receivers
Yeah.
on those extended plays. Drove down the field pretty nicely.
Yeah, he made a comment, and he's played a bunch of different places that he's played in different situations that he's adapted pretty quick to those situations that he kind of knows going. Like, I mean, he obviously didn't know the CFL game, but he
Yeah.
finds that he can adapt to things fairly quickly and understand things fairly quickly because he's kind of done it in the past. So that may have helped him going into this first game. And again, he was the third guy in, so you're also playing now Saskatchewan's backups kind of thing, right? So.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a great debut, and hopefully he can build off that.
I think he won a bowl game in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Coach O'Shea talks about learning from the loss. What's the biggest lesson you learned from this preseason? The biggest lesson, I'll go back to special teams. It's not fixed yet. It's still a work in progress. Like the view from section 112 looks pretty murky in regards to special teams. Like there is some talent to return, but someone's got to step up. Someone's got to show consistency. The punting looked pretty solid. You know, I think they have 6 punts, 3 each for Sheehan and Mastro Giuseppe. And the punt coverage was pretty good and solid. But the kickoff with that 60-yard return, unfortunately, we didn't get to see the whole thing because CFL Plus is still ironing out some things on the stream, just like they're still ironing out statistics on the site.
There you go.
How
Yeah.
does
There you go.
that happen still? It makes no sense that you don't have active stats. This is preseason for the players, not statistics on a website that should have been done last year. This is crazy.
I don't get it. I really don't understand how you do not have this stats in place. Cut the cord. You should have cut the cord at the end of last season that this wasn't done and find someone else. It's stats. How hard is this? Every league does it. Find it. Don't reinvent the wheel here. If it's not working, get back stats. Just have stats. At least something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And now I'm looking for 2023 stats. Nowhere to be found.
Nowhere.
What is the...
It's not like you're looking for 1960s stats here. You're looking for stats from a year ago and you still can't find them. Yes.
This is crazy. This better be good. You got 2 more weeks to figure it out.
Oh my God. You really think it's going to be done?
Shoot.
There's no way. There's no way. I haven't even heard anything else about it. I haven't heard Uncle Randy talk about it. Yeah, it's not good, man. Not good.
No, this is crazy. Like this real-time digital garbage, if you can't get the foundation for simple stats, you know, I could care less where the ball is on the TV screen because I'm watching it on TV anyways. I can care less about how many kilometers someone's walked on the field, whatever.
Yeah, I'm there to watch a football game. All those stats are nice to look at if you want to after the game, go back and review it, see what happened. But yeah, I'm there to watch the game. Even if I'm watching it on TV, I want to see I'll see where the ball went with my eyes. I don't need to know exactly, and I'll see where things end up after the play, right? Yeah. I don't need stats across the screen. I don't want a distraction from the actual football game. So I'm hoping that kind of shit does not take over.
What's the biggest thing you learned?
Again, that it's preseason, but also that, you know, I thought the Bombers were pretty set roster wise, but there is a lot of positions where there's going to be a lot of new guys and potentially some guys that not necessarily a lot of CFL experience going in, right? DBs, you got your right tackle. I know Lofton has CFL experience, so we'll see what ends up there. Wallace, I mean, with Neufeld hurt, who knows how long he'll play. Dobson's still pretty green, right? That 5th wide receiver spot. You got Brian Cole, maybe playing a new linebacker role for him. And then your defensive end, you got who are fighting for Jackson Jeffcoat's spot. So a lot of new guys are going to make some debuts in the CFL, and depth in some of these spots are not the greatest with CFL experience. So we'll see it. And the Bombers got some tough decisions to make.
Oof. Yeah, no doubt. This will be a very different team. The most change I think we've seen in the last 5 years.
Yeah, and a lot of it on defense, right? Because I mean, the main receivers are coming back. There'll be possibly a 5th different one, right? Running backs are the same. Quarterback, O-line, yes, some changes, but most of them are going to be defensive side. And I didn't really realize that. I thought, okay, they're getting a lot of these guys back, but Bighill's on the 6-game injured list now, right? So he's not playing for bit. So we'll see who takes over that middle linebacker spot too.
Yeah. Jordan Younger. What you gonna do? What you gonna
Welcome
do?
to the CFL, man. I
Let's
know
keep,
he's been in the CFL, but welcome to the coaching position.
yeah, exactly. As a coordinator.
Yes, exactly.
Let's take a look at that linebacker room. Any concerns, highlights, weaknesses, strengths? I'm going to go with a concern that you had with the receiving core, and mine is age with the linebackers.
Yeah.
Uh, Bighill's 36, starting the season on a 6-game IL, coming back from a serious lower leg injury. Kai Wilson is 31, played half a season coming off a big ACL injury. He's still a versatile defensive weapon. Yeah, maybe he might play middle linebacker. He did it in 2019 at the beginning of the season when Biggie was hurt last time. I wonder if that's an option. Have
Yeah.
Wilson play the middle and then have Cole play the weak. And Cole or Cad Wallader. God, I'm never going to get that name this year. Tanner Cadwallader? Cadwallader. Bro, I'm
Cadwallader,
sorry I'm missing your name. I know I'll get it right. Believe me, I will. Playing the weak side, and Cramdy holding it down on the other side. I totally got sidetracked trying to figure out names here. But any which way. But at least I think their strength is depth with Cramdy, with Tanner C, I'm going to call him, and Gauthier. You have some players. So depth, yes. Age, yes.
Is Cramdy going to be the guy there, or is Brian Cole going to take over that spot, or you think Cramdy's still got?
Cramdy's got to be starter.
Yeah,
Cramdy's got to be starter because he's Canadian as well. Yeah, you can't just replace that when he plays that position better than capably. Yeah, I think Brian Cole is at least versatile enough to maybe play Kyrie Wilson's spot if he goes middle with Biggie.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, even the depth chart that they put out for that game, like that middle linebacker position was just a lot of new guys. Even the weak side linebacker spot where Kyrie is supposed to be playing. Yeah. Besides, like you said, Cadwallader. Again, sorry, man.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, hard. It is. There was all new guys basically there as well. Like not a lot of experience there. So yeah, I'm going to agree with you on the age and injury part because there's not a lot of depth with CFL experience there. Right. I mean, it makes sense, yeah, to put Kyrie Wilson in the middle, but then who do you put in his spot? Because there's not a lot of experience there either. So this linebacking core to start the season is going to be probably under pressure, and that's probably where most teams are going to attack first.
Running game.
Yeah, exactly. Right. To see what they can do and how they can hold up, especially when you don't have Bighill there, right? He's a general in there. He's the one running the play or calling the shots and all that kind of stuff, making sure guys are in the right spot. So now you're going to need someone else to do that. So it'll be interesting. So yeah, my concern's the same as yours with the age of these guys and, coming off injuries. Kyrie Wilson, the ACL, Biggie, the torn calf, I believe it was, right? So it's going to be interesting, man.
So I got depth, especially Canadian depth. What do you got as a strength or highlight from this linebacker room?
And then part of that is the veteran. Like, again, it may hurt them injury-wise, but it'll help them and be their strength. Bighill will be able to help whoever is taking his spot. And if it's not Kyrie Wilson, who probably doesn't need as much help as someone else would, he can lend his ear to almost every linebacker. So he's, like you say, he's 36. He's been in the CFL for a long time. He's got experience. So he can be almost a de facto coach to kind of help these guys figure out where they need to be and help them, maybe play the game a little bit faster than taking and making mistakes. But I think the first couple of games we'll see some mistakes there for sure. But you can see that the veteran guys like Kyrie Wilson, Bighill, taking these guys under the wings and showing them what they need to do.
The benefit is if Gauthier or Gemmill steps up, then you're only replacing one position in middle.
Yeah.
You're not doing middle and Sam linebacker.
Yeah.
Or sorry, weak side. So that's probably what the way they'll go.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Where does Adam Bighill rank on the all-time Bomber linebacking list? Where does he rank on your all-time Bomber linebacking list?
There's obviously been a lot of great linebackers in Bomber history, right? Greg Battle, Tyrone Jones, James West, Paul Randolph, and so on. And to me, it's a lot more about nostalgia with those guys. But I mean, they obviously had some great stats. They led the Bombers to some great Cup victories and all that stuff. I'll put them in the top 5. I don't know where to rank them in amongst those guys, but definitely top 5. I mean, the guy ranks 4th all time in Bomber career tackles. And again, just and obviously he's got way more tackles in the CFL as a whole, and he's won the Defensive Player of the Year twice while being a Bomber.
Yes.
So that is huge. So yeah, he's definitely ranking up high, top 5. I don't know where to place all these guys, off the top of my head or anything. So
He's on my Mount Rushmore. He's top 4 for sure. Like, I was
yeah,
like, I even take Baron Simpson, I think, over Paul Randolph.
yeah,
I
Simpson was
love
good.
Baron Simpson. He was the
He was
Minister of
good.
Defense.
Yeah,
Also
yeah.
a guy who came from BC,
I always forget
just
about
like Biggie.
Simpson. Yeah,
So, yeah, I know, underrated.
yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
don't forget Rylan Wickman. He's steady in the middle as well. Well, he played under Dave Ritchie, a small dude like Biggie, filling it up number 55. But yeah, on my Mount Rushmore, I'm going to have Tyrone Jones number 1, as everyone would know. Greg Battle number 2. Sentimental will be West at number 3. And Biggie, I'll say they will be 3A and 3B.
yeah. I can't argue with you on that.
Like, I love both of them.
Yeah.
What did you think of your first look at the Riders under Corey Mace?
Yeah, I mean, veteran roster to start things off, so that definitely did not hurt him at all. But they still racked up a lot of penalties, which is something they wanted to get away with from last season. But
Yeah.
Trevor Harris looked good on offense. Shane Bain is picking up right where he did last year. And the D, and again, against a lot of players that may not be in the CFL next week, D picked up 5 sacks and a few interceptions. So as a whole, the team played well for Corey Mace. The offense, they put up some good stats, but it kind of fizzled in the touchdown department. Again, Brett Lowther, and that was an issue that they had last year. That offense would move the ball and they'd stall, and Brett Lowther would kick field goals. So, pretty good debut. He got the win for Corey Mace. He's just got a few things to clean up.
Yeah, I really like whatever that is, like the energy and support that they have for each other on that sideline. Very different vibe on the sideline from what Craig Dixon's had. And I know it's preseason. I know it's the first time, first group, very excited, doing it at home, playing against your rival. But I think they straight up had a good vibe on that sideline. Very different from what they were. They had some real vocal leaders. You can see Yoshi. He was probably spent more energy on the sideline encouraging teammates than he did when he played his little brief appearance in the game, to be honest with you. Yeah, and we knew that was his role.
Yeah, that's him, man, right?
That's where he's getting the icing on the cake as a highest paid American lineman in the CFL.
Yeah. He always brought that enthusiasm every game with the Bombers too, right? So that's we talked about it before too. The Bombers are going to have to find another guy, that'll take that spot.
And it's hard to be definitive on what they are as a team right now, but it's very clear that they're going to be a power running game, offense led by the power running game, and his defense will be led by a defensive line that creates havoc, just like he did in Calgary, just like he did in Toronto. Corey Mace, I'm talking about, without a consistent blitz. He's all about getting a pressure from the front four.
Yeah.
So we saw traces of that right there. And they're also throwing in a little bit of blitzing too. So I'm concerned about Saskatchewan. They're going to be good. Don't overlook Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it all depends on Trevor Harris's health bouncing back. Because we saw they started off decent last year. He got hurt, and Jake Dogala, Mason Firing, it just wasn't good enough, right? So Trevor Harris, who's 38 this year, right? Or 38 right now, even.
Yeah, definitely.
And he looked good. But again, he's at that age where injuries are going to start to creep up. So yeah, if he can play the full season, Saskatchewan will definitely make some noise.
Especially if they get that running game going in the second half.
Yeah.
They had the running game going really good yesterday.
Yeah, and you better with AJ Olette, man. I know like he didn't play a lot yesterday, but you got to have that this year. You went and got the guy. You're paying him good money. Your running game has to be very good, better way, and you have to focus on it better than last year. And I know they will because there's different personnel in there. And Corey Mace so far, I like the enthusiasm on the sideline, especially if it's coming from coaches and that, right? It's easy to do in preseason. It's tough to do when you start losing games. So hopefully they can continue to bring that enthusiasm because, like you say, with Craig Dickinson, it seemed like a morgue on the sideline there, right? Because they just
all day.
Yeah, Dickinson had that doom and gloom look on his face, especially when they started losing games, right? So,
yeah. Oh, he had that look on his face when they were winning games.
That's true.
He's like, he was waiting for things to fall apart. Yeah. And when you have that vibe on the sideline, things fall apart.
It's funny when you
And they
watch.
did.
Yo, they did. When you watch coaches, they look like they got the worst, most miserable job on earth, right? Barely any
Yes.
smiling. Oh, that's just like, I get it. There's a lot of pressure and stuff like that, but enjoy the game a little bit, crack a smile here and there.
It's called the Belichick mask.
Yeah, it's like too much, guys. It's like, come on, you know?
Jeez. Or the Don Matthews mask, I guess, in the CFL.
Yeah, every coach is like, it's like, enjoy this, throw a couple swears like Paul Maurice has.
Oh, we'll talk about Palmer another day. Let's move on, though, to some Winnipeg Jets talk, NHL talk. Ehlers, lots of trade talk. Ehlers for Chychrun is one that we're hearing here and there. Would you make that trade?
Yeah, I think I would. It worries me about Chychrun being on Arizona, then Ottawa, and now looking to be traded again. But he's a left-handed defenseman, and the Jets need that, especially with Dylan and DeMello being free agents. You need someone that can step up in that top four and play well. And he's still young. I know he's got 1 year left on his contract, same as Ehlers. So if you're going to trade Ehlers, yeah, I would look to maybe make that trade for a defenseman. Is Chychrun the best guy out there? No, I haven't looked through a lot of other stuff, but I would probably make that trade.
Man, I just don't get the vibe from Chychrun.
Yeah,
Like there were some rumors that he wanted out of Ottawa and he wasn't very keen on playing in Canada. Just like Ehlers, he has a 10-team no trade list, and I'm sure Winnipeg's on there. Winnipeg, it must be on almost everybody's, and it's understandable. It's not a large market. The potential of growing your brand and getting sponsorship is not it's not there compared to the large markets. So I get it. As Winnipeggers and as Winnipeg Jets fans, we get it. So I don't know if he'd even want to be here. And if he waives it, that probably sets a bad precedent. So he might force his way out, and that might turn into a PLD situation. I'm just not. And you talk about left-handed defensemen. I think they need a right-handed defenseman. And I'd rather they just trade him and get some draft picks, which they traded all away for these past trade moves that they've made. And understandably, it's made the team better, but they are sorely missing draft picks. Get some more draft picks from someone like Buffalo or Chicago. And you know what? Use the cap space to maybe sign a defenseman in free agency, like Sean Walker, who they should have gotten during the trade deadline in the first place, but they couldn't have offered first like the other team did, like Colorado did. But yeah, they need a right-hand defenseman, and I don't know. I don't know with Ehlers, man. I kind of want to give this guy a shot to stay around with the new coach and see what he can do and keep him as a trade deadline asset. And you might get more at the trade deadline even. So I don't know. But I'm not a huge fan of Chychrun, and I don't think they should make a move for him.
Yeah, Ehlers, I don't want to trade him either. I mean, I'd rather keep him, but yeah, I mean, if things are kind of going separate ways with him, and it's kind of been going over that for the last couple of years. And if you go with Scott Arniel as your coach, then it's probably, hey, goodbye, Ehlers. And the one thing that if you wait for the trade deadline is if you're in a playoff spot, which we fully expect the Jets to be next year after this past season, right? You're not getting rid of Ehlers at that point, right? Even though he's underperformed in the playoffs. But yeah, I think if you're going to make a move, it's got to be around the draft. And yeah, and if it ends up netting you somehow a first rounder for Ehlers, maybe do that. But the only thing is the Jets are in that kind of win now mode, right?
Yeah.
Whereas that draft pick won't necessarily help this year. Right.
Well, maybe they might bring those young guys up then with Scott Arniel. Like, is it bad to have a $6 million winger on the third line? Is it really that bad?
Who's that? Ehlers? Yeah. I mean,
yeah. If he was producing better, if he's great at 5-on-5 and he's producing on third line, and the Jets are able to have a fourth line with Lowry and Niederreiter, or maybe Niederreiter's playing on the same line with Ehlers, what's wrong with a $6 million guy playing on the third line if he's playing more efficiently and benefits the team?
If he's playing that offensive role, right? But Lowry's not going to be bumped down to the fourth line anyways. Lowry's going to continue. We always said the best team the Jets are probably going to have is if Lowry is on the fourth line.
Yeah, but like these line distinctions in regards to third and fourth and who you're playing against, it, like they played the third line against the first line against Colorado anyways. So what's the distinction in regards to third or fourth line? It's just who you're playing with at this point now.
Yeah, but they played that Lowry line against McKinnon and all that just to hopefully stop McKinnon, right? Not necessarily to score. If the Jets somehow pitched in a goal with Lowry on the ice against McKinnon, hey, great. But otherwise, success was, stopping those guys. Which then now you're down to 2 lines being able to score because your 4th line is only going to chip goals here and there. And I mean, they had decent first couple of games in that series, and then after that, they were nothing, right?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. The 3rd line becomes a scoring line with Ehlers on it.
I would love
young
that.
talent, maybe Lambert and McGraw. Who knows?
I would.
Niederreiter. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, a top 9 that can score is better than just a top 6 that can score, and your team would go a long way. Look at Dallas; they got depth throughout.
Exactly.
Like they're playing well. Edmonton doesn't. Again, they got a few good guys. They got Nugent Hopkins. When you play McDavid and Draisaitl as centers or whatever, then yeah, you got Nugent Hopkins on the 3rd line kind of thing. But it gets whittled down when those guys play together, right? But yeah, if you can go top 9 that can score, great. But that Lowry line didn't chip in enough after.
They need that scoring top 9. They need it. It showed that was very apparent against Colorado.
Yeah, and you're probably going to move on or move Appleton down at that point, right? Because that guy should probably not be in your top 9 at this point.
He played more minutes than Ehlers.
Yeah. That's good. That whole 3rd line played more minutes than that 2nd line for a lot of the time. And you traded a 1st rounder for Sean Monahan. And you didn't play him as much in the playoffs as you played that Lowry line. It's like, well, what are you doing here, man? So,
yeah. Like, it's arguable that he's even a 3rd line center on every other good team in the NHL. Any which way.
Yeah, you definitely need
off-season to.
Are you talking about Monahan?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he was the only guy available. Yeah, he's definitely not a 2nd line center. He showed that in the playoffs. But he was the only guy available, right?
Yeah. And he made him better during the regular season, that's for sure.
He did, but then he no-showed in the playoffs, him and Toffoli, unfortunately. And a lot of other Jets.
Jets fans, put your comments in the comment section below. Let's move on to quick shots. Who's the best candidate to knock off the Chiefs as champ? I'll say it first, San Fran. Did anyone really get any better in the NFC that will be challenging the 49ers in January? Nah. So I think it's San Fran.
The Eagles, maybe.
Did they get better?
I mean, they changed up some coaching, so we'll see if that makes them better. Decent draft, yeah. Baltimore, maybe in the AFC before they even get to the Super Bowl, but Baltimore's so up and down. I may have to agree with you with San Francisco right now in that. And right now, for San Francisco, Kansas City is basically their boogeyman. So,
who's going to be in the NBA championship?
You want my professional opinion on this?
Yes.
You know what? I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Good for them to get this far so far. And the Boston Celtics.
I agree with you. Celtics, East, and Minnesota's just feeling it right now. They beat the champs, and Dallas doesn't have enough scoring to beat that Minnesota defense. Where will Linus?
They came back to beat the Nuggets too. That's crazy.
Yeah. Where will Linus Ullmark end up next season?
Probably somewhere that needs a goalie. But
I'll say the Leafs. Who you got?
You didn't let me finish. But I was going to say yes, the Leafs too.
Oh, I thought you were asking me. I'm like, what's going on here? Let's go. Quick shots.
Just being an idiot. Yeah.
Stanley Cup final predictions. Who do you got?
Dallas Rangers.
Ooh, I agree with you. Will Craig Berube have sexist? Well, you know what? That Craig Berube, it's not sexist, it's racist. Remember this dude? He called, what's his name? Worrell? A monkey.
Oh, jeez.
And he got suspended for it.
And now he's coaching.
Makes sense. It's the NHL.
It is the NHL, yeah. Bill Peters should be back in no time.
Oh, and what's his name? Babcock.
Grenville. Oh, my God.
Will Berube have success in Toronto?
No. Like, not Stanley Cup success. He may take Toronto a little bit further than what they've gotten, but no Stanley Cup.
Oh, yeah. Not with that core four. What is success? If they get to the conference final next year with the core four, that's success.
Nah, yeah, that is success, but that's not success for Toronto. A Stanley Cup bust or nothing, right?
Yeah, well, then no success. Benny, do you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, leave us a comment, leave us a like, and have a good week.
In the words of LeVar Burton, we'll see you next time.